Hey everybody, how's it going? Blaine here, back at you again with a collective video. Today I'm kind of going to revisit some older videos of mine and talk about tricks with the art editor, mostly using a clip art-esque things. First thing I'm going to start off with is just a trick that you might not know, which is you might notice that this border around any of the items that you get is going to be the same size as the item that you pull out of clip art, and that might be a problem for a number of given reasons. I'll show you what those reasons are here in a little bit, but first I'm just going to show you how to increase the border size around a given piece of clip art. We're just going to use the square. So the easiest route to do this is just turn it on its side and then imagify it, and then turn it back to its original side and imagify it again. And now, as you can see, I mean, it's a little off center there, but we have a much larger space around it. And why is that important? As I said earlier, I will show you. The most common reason that it becomes a problem is the blur tool. So the blur tool needs an area to blur, and when it runs into this border, it just stops. So I'll put this one over here for example to show you what it looks like when we actually give it a border. But then if we try to take, for instance, just a normal square and blur that bad boy, when we do so, if it can detect that it's being blurred, is it just not having it? Alright guys, I broke the art editor. Is brightness working? Okay, brightness is working, so I feel like blurriness should be working. Maybe you can't see it because it's just legit that close. Let's do it let's do it one level deep here, where it's got some corners, and maybe we'll be able to see it blur up a little bit. Yeah, so here you go. So as you can see, it cuts the corners off where that border is, and here it has that full zone to stretch. And so a lot of the tricks I'm going to show you today revolve around using blur, or at least a couple of them. So just right off the bat, there's how to do that. Another one is just grabbing a circle quickly. I know that there's a circle somewhere, like if you come through game icons eventually, it's called, like, I don't know, shape circle or something. But if you just go to Colin, I guess it's Serial here, you can just grab any of these guys and up the brightness to a jabillion, and do the same thing, and you have yourself a circle. So let's start with some of these blur tricks. If you take blur and you do it just a little bit, you get this outline around an object, and it'll do this for any of the clip arts. We're going to start with a circle, and if you do just add, you can color that blurry outline without changing that middle color. And how you can use that is if you imagify the object after you've colored it, as seen here. You can remove the white from the center and have just an outline of any of the clip arts. Now, obviously, I need to actually select white here and then not do this on the full scale. There. And to clean that up again, the blur tool is like the ultimate cleanup when you're doing clip art. So we're going to blur it a little bit, and you're thinking, well, now it looks really blurry. That doesn't look great. And now we're going to change this to the tint tool. And so we're going to tint it red or tint it black, whatever color that we want, and it will, completely cover it. And so now we have this outline that you can do, all kinds of different things with. You can come back to this one and disable, any of its going-ons and have the shape of it. Works really great for making things like hieroglyphs on walls, or indentions on like metal and stuff. And when you use the other clip arts, you can really combine some weird effects like that to make the outline do cool things. And a lot of the times you really just want an outline of one of these objects, which you can't get. You either get a big black box outline if you remove the black, like this, or you remove the white, and either way you're not getting that outline. So this trick with the blur lets you do that, and this one I know is like very light. You can get more particular with it depending on how you use the blur tool. So the more you blur or the less you blur, it gets finer, and so you can play around with it to find what works best for you. One of the coolest things you can do with it is, hold on, bring back my circle. Is like if we tint this whole circle like a red color. Let's do like a reddish orange here. And you just want it to have like a little bit of a oomph to it. You can tint our circle like a much darker red. And when they're the same size, you can give it like a little bit of an aura. Again, like I said, there it looks really, really blurry. So you have to play with it to get the right blur size for whatever you're doing. But it also lets you have outlines as like drawing guides if you want to combine it with using like a draw tablet of some sort. You can just grab a clip art, grab a piece of art from the sheet, outline it, and then you have something that's a lot less invasive in your drawing. It's not the big white piece that covers your whole drawing or that black outline that doesn't let you see your background. So lots of uses for it. Another thing is just making a shaded circle. I'm going to get a cleaner one that I didn't blur a whole lot. Is just taking one of these guys, and I always give myself that little bit of space just because, picking our color and just tinting it. Like this one's kind of like a dark red. Then we just imagify it, and to consistently up your light level, you're going to come to brightness here, and let's say you want it to get this much brighter, with each level that you're doing here. And I'm doing this with a circle, but you could of course do it with any shape. So if I imagify it and then click brightness again, it's going to be on that same level. And so it'll get the same level of bright comparatively to the last level. And you may start doing that and notice that, well, man, that's way brighter than I wanted it to be. Well, I mean, you can go back down and lower that number because the brightness tick here will be on there either way. And you can keep doing it as high or as low as you want to go. And if you do that and you notice that, like it got way too bright, you can always go back and take your first color with the draw tool and just make it transparent. And I'm going to do a very poor job of this here, but shade over that and it'll make the difference a lot less. So as you can see here, this fade is a lot less intense than this fade. Another thing you can do is just flatten everything and get this little object here and play around with things like the contrast to make it less like that, and saturation and brightness as well. You can up it a lot, then the levels are a lot less noticeable. You can almost basically erase them by turning your contrast up, or just completely gray it out if you turn contrast all the way down. And for things like that, I think it's how I did the sheep for the most recent art competition. Yeah, it is. So what you can see I did here was I started with a dark gray circle, then a lighter gray circle, then a white circle. Then I actually copied that and turned the darkness way down to make the head. So the head is basically just a carbon copy of the body stacked. And then I did that same trick with the ears, only with 2 layers there instead of 3. And then each of the copies are each of the sheep are just copies of each other. This was also something that I did with all clip art. It's very blurry, I won't lie. It's made to be a background, and a lot of my backgrounds are blurry. I just, they're out of focus or whatever, and try to make the front and center the focus. This is another one that I did using those same effects. Here's one where I really use that blurry outline a lot. Like this is one big blurry outline around one really focused, and then I have a couple of outlines in there that you can see of different things like hieroglyphs. This is like some leaves up here, and just tinting it and changing those colors. I did all of that. One thing you can do is, let me grab Peas wherever he's at. Did I delete the P card from my own art, or do they have to load? Is that what it is? I'm not giving them time to load? Because this guy shouldn't be on page 5. I just made him yesterday. Oh, okay, hold on. We got like such a mix of timeline of art here. It's really throwing me off. Alright. Henry came before Peas, but then Peas aren't on this list. It's wonky, boys. I don't know. You know what? Let's just go grab Peas. We need collection. There it is. So these guys are, you know, obviously clip art. And so I did a couple of different things here. You can see the stacked circles again. And then we've surrounded him here with what looks like a fading color outline. And the way I did that is, let me delete this one. I'll find an object that's kind of the shape that I want to maintain. So obviously not this acorn, but I'm going to use it as an example because it's the opposite of our shape. This one bows out instead of bows in. And then I stretch it till I get it to the point, you know, where I want it. Sometimes blur up that end just a little bit so that it becomes a fine line. Then tint it all the color that I'm looking for. Like maybe green was what I had there. Let's do like a blue. And so that it's not just this flat blue, what I'll do is I'll get another object with a similar shape, like this one. We'll go ahead and remove that color. And we're going to do our blur zone expanding here. So now we got plenty of room to blur this. And we're going to blur it a lot. Like that. And match that shape up as well as we can. We want it to line up right on the edge there. And then we tint that object and we can adjust that color so that it matches the effect that we want there. And you know, different objects will have different levels and all, and we can actually, you know, make a second one of these, stretch it as well, and layer it to, you know, fade color in and out as we want it to. Like that. And so as you can see now, it looks like it's actually got a fade to it. If you're doing a circle, you can honestly just straight up cheat using the Colin Serial circles here. If you just brighten them up a little bit, not all the way to white, like about right there, then you can come over here, yeah, and multiply seems to work the best, I think, and get a color. And you can maintain the faded look of the circle that is already drawn on there, just like that. Then you have these faded layers there. For backgrounds, in a lot of my images, like in this potato here, like I said, I normally go for a blurry background, but you can really use any of the objects and game icons for mixing up color. Like something like this looks really cool. But it's probably not exactly what you want for your background, but what you can do is just remove that color, tint it any color, it doesn't really matter, just whatever you want in your background. Like let's say I want a really pink color for some reason, do that, fix my remove color problem from earlier. There we go. And then take our square, get that out of our way, make this the other main color for our background here. Let's say maybe a more purple to the back. And then we just flatten that and just blur it to the max. And you lose, you know, that definitive look of that brain whatever thing. But you can combine a bunch of different things like that and just get a just a weird abstract background that's different colors and stuff, that it naturally fades from the different colors instead of having to sit there and shade in a bunch of different stuff. That isn't how I did on cards, like if it'll actually show me any of them here. Like on cards like these, I actually went in and hand drew these sections. Same as this one, but on cards like this, let's see. See, these are all hand drawn as well, just adding those layers on top of each other. Especially on some of my older cards, I would do this here. Let's just get through the wacky levels of cards. This I don't know if I ever put this on the art sheet, but this one, it was very similar. There's like a few of the like amoeba looking guys, and then the background is done, I think, with that exact object there. And I blurred it just a little bit less than that one. Alright, let's talk about some other tricks, some more image related ones. This is one I showed in one of my older videos. Somebody else taught it to me and I can't remember what it is, and it's skewing like the square to fit like a room or something. If you do this right here, you get yourself a corner, and then you can combine that with two other squares. We're going to go darken this bad boy up a little bit to show that it's different. Go ahead and imagify it to save ourselves some time. Make this one also a little bit darker. Move it to the back, and ta-da! Now we have ourselves a room. And I can see here I need to adjust that one a little bit. How's that look? There you go. Now we have a white room. This is straight up just the start of what is his name? Dr. Corny. Oh, okay, I was going to say, can we not even look up the old ones anymore? Yes. So Dr. Corny, you can see the walls kind of look like that corn stuff that they put on ceilings, and so that is just taking this and then filtering it and adding noise of any given size and style there. You can even like combine noise and blur to just give stuff like a texture, like that right there. And then if you leave them at about the same place, you can come over here, adjust your blur a little bit, and there you go. Now you have a textured wall. The floor, you can texture it all kinds of ways to make it different from your walls. One trick is one of the very first editor tricks we figured out, which is making straight lines just by shrinking down the square. You just stretch you a square until you get you a nice long rectangle, and then you can tint it whatever color you'd like. For this, I'm just gonna just darken it up a little bit, and then you can do things like make yourself a tiled floor. Obviously you would want it to match the angle of your wall over here, but you could just go along imagifying and stretching those out and making yourself a tile floor. Something else you could try is take your square, since you know it's going to be the right size for a perfect tile, and do a little bit of a blur, not too much. Then add a black outline, imagify it again, and then remove that white. And you should be able to get a nice faded, like a laid tile floor there. Yeah, and that's kind of small. You might want to make it a little bigger than that, or just turn down this amount. You can also up the blur and then tint it again. I don't think I've ever tried embossing it, but that might help just a little, not much. But then you can just keep stacking those, and you know that your angles will match up because you just copied that object there that is already your angled floor, and get yourself a tiled floor. Now we have the doctor's office of Dr. Corny's brother, Dr. Corny Jr. I guess Junior wouldn't be his brother, huh? Unless their family's just very unimaginative with naming. I should have written down all the things that I wanted to show you guys. I felt like the other day I had so many. Now I'm kind of blanking over here. Let's see. Let's look through my recent cards real quick. See if there's anything else I want to show you guys. Don't forget that tint is how you you match any clip art to like a background. You just use tint with the clip art and then use the color selector and pick what you want. Then you can make like your grass the exact same color as the hill, like I did here. What else? Fuzzles and Furflower are actually the same body. I just drew them differently. And I think the reason Happy wasn't showing up in my inventory is because Happy just isn't in my inventory. Yeah, but thanks for watching. This is just, you know, a rambling on some things you can do in the art editor. If there's anything else you guys would like to see or like to know, let me know. I'm sure I can probably help you with it, and I've just forgotten, like I said, for the video. You guys have a great one, and thanks for watching.